Thank you, Brent. Alex Trebek came to speak at Texas State University a few weeks ago, and he talked about how unbelievably nervous he was. And so if a guy like that is shaking, you can imagine how nervous I am, but I'm also very, very excited to be here. When you go to college, a lot of times when you write a paper or you give a speech, or you are on the newspaper staff or a broadcaster, or you give a speech, you're not supposed to begin anything with a quote, but since we're not in class, when I was a boy of 14, my father was so ignorant I hardly could stand to have the old man around. But as I got to be 21, I was astonished at how much I learned in 7 years. And that's often attributed to Mark Twain, but nobody really knows who said it. But when I was a boy, there is a big point to that. And I think that in those 7 years, that point is the growth that you go through from the time that you're in high school to the time that you graduate college. And I graduated high school in 2004, and so that 7 years is coming up very, very quickly. As Brent said, my name is Mason Robinson, and I have been involved in Big Brothers Big Sisters since 1995, and that would mean that on October 4th, me and my big brother Scott, sitting here, will celebrate our 15th anniversary coming up. And so that's something I'm very proud of, because Big Brothers and Big Sisters offered me something that I didn't have growing up. My dad passed away when I was 10 months old, and so it was me, my mom, and my brother. And so when Scott stepped in, that provided a lot of support, a lot of the things that I was missing without that male influence in my life. And so now I'm in college. I go to Texas State University, and I can't see you, Dr. Smith, but I know you're back there. There you are. It's a fun school, and that's actually, of course, why I'm here to speak to you today. It's about accepting your Promise Scholarship, and you did steal a little bit of my thunder, but the key word to that is the promise involved in the scholarship. But to me, it's a promise of what you promise to yourself. When I was 13, we met on this campus, and I accepted my promise. Well, I said I would go to school, and of course, when I graduated, I gladly took that check and then moved on to school. But I've noticed that what we really learn, as you go to college, you really learn, you don't learn algebra, you don't really need to know what the, I don't even remember what the parabolic formula, you don't need to know that. You don't really have to remember that when you go on to be an insurance salesman or to sell cars or whatever you would like to do. What you have is that brain power, and what you learn in class is not necessarily what you'll know as you move on into the real world. And fittingly enough, in most universities there's an intro course that you take, and at Texas State it's called University Seminar, and that's something that kind of gets you acquainted with the school that you picked and lets you know why you should like that school and why you should be proud, etc. And our theme that year, our common experience theme, was education and what a true education is. And I think that's what I kind of touched on before is just that. It's not what you are in class thinking about. It's how you learn to think about those things and how you understand everything that you see around you, and how to just sort of move forward, because you've been in school for about 12 years. For the seniors that are graduating, you've been in school for 12 years, and you can look forward to 4 more years. That's about 100 times a little more difficult than high school, but also it's a lot better. It's a lot more fun, a lot more responsibility, but with that responsibility comes a lot of freedom. And that's the fun part of college. And in my experiences, and I know that this is just my experience, but a lot of my friends have had very similar experiences. I am a huge baseball fan. And so when the then president of the National Baseball Hall of Fame came to speak at Texas State, you know that I was the first one there, all 6 hours early, ready to talk to him and shake his hand. And Alex Trebek, like I said, came to speak, and so that was a fun experience to get to talk to Mr. Trebek. And he's on Jeopardy. I mean, you can't really say much more about that. Before he became the president of the United States, Barack Obama came and spoke on the banks of the San Marcos River. And of course, that was a very, very important thing for me to see the eventual president of the United States, because if you think Alex Trebek is a big deal, you don't get better than Mr. Obama, in my opinion. And of course, I'm at KTSW, our school radio station, and I've had the opportunity to call our baseball games be the broadcaster for baseball games, softball games, and also in volleyball. And I think that is something that a university education and a college experience will offer you when you take this step on after high school, or for some of the younger kids, that when you go through high school, you have that to look forward to. And as I said, this promise is to yourself, that if you so choose to make a university education, the method by which you fulfill that promise to yourself, I think that it will be highly rewarding and very, very highly satisfying for all the experiences you will have. And then when you move on in your life, the things that you will remember from what you got. And I think that this promise scholarship and the promise that you're making to yourself helps. It helps tremendously with what you're doing here today. So I'd like to challenge the students, but also the parents and the bigs, because growing up was a pretty difficult time in my life. It was rough. And education and going to school sometimes, or even doing my homework from day to day, was not the first priority on my list. And God bless my mother, but she had a lot on her plate as well. And so with Scott's influence, my big brother, that really put a new emphasis on education, and even still halfway through college. Sometimes when the grades would struggle and I would struggle, I still have Scott there, and I think that it's important to remember that even as the kids get older, sometimes they need that, the C is not going to work, Mason. You need to do a little bit better than that. And for the kids themselves, that's, of course, the students right here in front of me, that's the most important thing, is to challenge your own self. Because going to school, going to college is something that you've chosen to do. And it's not that you have to. It's not that anybody's making you go to school. It's that you've promised yourself that you would like something a little bit better. And I think that the freedom inherent in that choice is what you should remember now, today, and as you get your medals, because I think I don't think it's corny at all to get these medals. I think that you should realize that you're a select few in this room receiving a medal around your neck. And so I really think it feels good. So I'd like to say thank you to some of you younger folks, and then also congratulations, and congratulations to the seniors, that all of you are accepting your big hefty check today. And hopefully you will enjoy your college experience. And as I said, I graduated in 2004, and I am astonished at how much I've learned in these last 7 years. But fortunately, it doesn't end for you. And right now, it doesn't end for me either. So congratulations for all of you accepting your Promise Scholarship, and thank you very much.